Hi, boys and girls. Mystery Montemurro here. Today I'm going to be reading you a book called Seeing the World Through Numbers. But as we go, we are going to stop and discuss some of the patterns with numbers that we're seeing. When you first see a number, it can just look like lines on a page. As you start to learn where different numbers come from and what they mean, they can help you learn more about the world. What do you think this number says about the world? Sometimes you see a number by itself. That can tell you about one thing in the world. When numbers are put together, like in this line plot, they can tell you about patterns in the world. What do these numbers say about the world? What about this one? There's only one way out here. You guessed it, that's the height of the teacher, which is way taller than his students in third grade. Numbers can help us learn about things we can see. They can also help us learn about things we can feel. What do you think this number helps us learn about the world? I see that he's looking at a thermometer here, so I'm guessing that that is the temperature today, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, not in our today, but in their today. What do you think the numbers in this line plot help us learn about the world? Do you notice a pattern? It says May daily high temperatures where I live in degrees Fahrenheit. You can tell because these are all in a clump on the line plot that these are all similar temperatures, the lowest temperature being 77 and the highest temperature being 85. But they're all pretty close to each other and it's not a very large range. So we would say these are similar. You can record the temperature every day for a month. If you make a line plot of all the temperatures, you can see the hottest and coldest temperatures, plus everything in between. That's the range of temperatures for the month. You find the range by finding the highest number and the lowest number in a group of numbers. The temperature changed from day to day in May. Even so, the temperature stayed within a particular range, from 77 degrees Fahrenheit to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It was very warm every day in May. There were no cold days. Sometimes, patterns in numbers can help us predict what the world will be like in the future. What if there were still one more day in May? What could you predict about the weather on that day? The temperatures in May were between 77 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. You can predict that the temperature on the last day in May would probably be between 77 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It would probably be in the same range. Different places can have very different weather patterns. Let's say your cousin makes her own line plot of temperatures for the month of May. Your cousin lives far away. This line plot shows the temperatures in the place where your cousin lives. What do you notice about the numbers in her line plot? If we look here, they're also similar for her area for the month of May, the lowest end being 65 degrees and the highest being 73 degrees. So overall, we could say that it is colder where his cousin lives. When you look at both line plots together, what do they tell you about the May weather in these places? Which place would you go to if you wanted to be warmer in May? Temperatures aren't the only numbers that tell us what it feels like outside. People use rain gauges to measure rainfall in millimeters. What do you think these numbers say about the world? How rainy was the month of May? It's hard to tell. This is a lot of numbers. I don't know, is that a lot? It seems kind of rainy, but it also has some dry days. Hmm. It's hard to think about 31 different numbers at the same time. One way to make sense of a group of numbers is to add them together. Adding up a group of numbers gives you the total. For example, you can add up all the daily rain numbers to get the total for the month. This number tells you how much rain fell during the entire month. Totals are easy to compare because the total is just one number. You can compare the total rainfall in one month to the total rainfall in a different month. You can also compare the totals from two different places. So the total rainfall where he lives is 105 millimeters, and the total rainfall where his cousin lives is 56 millimeters. These are two numbers that we can compare. We can see that it's rainier where he lives than where his cousin lives, in the month of May anyhow. When you stop and look, there are numbers all around you. What do these numbers tell you about the world? All right. In your slideshow, you're also going to go ahead and answer some questions about the book, about what patterns you saw. There's also another science practice that you can do. If you go to your student apps page, when you go to the remote learning for Amplify, you have access to all these science practice tools. You'd also have access if you went to Amplify through your class link as well. If you click on this one, it's actually a really fun practice with recognizing patterns, and you can also do the temperature patterns ones as well. I'm going to show you a quick video on how to do those. Oops, maybe not. I'll show you myself. Okay, so if you choose the Finding Patterns one, when you come over here, you have a whole big scroll bar of these different circles that have patterns, or I'm sorry, ovals that have different patterns on them. When you go to drag them over here, it will tell you which box to put it in based on any patterns you might see. So that one, the number one popped up, so I know to put it in box number one. And this one, when I start to drag it, a 2 pops up, so I put it over here. When I start to drag this one, 4, this one, 3. Okay, and if I just scroll, there's lots more here, and I can just keep going, and eventually, hopefully, one, I'll see the pattern and be able to figure it out without even looking at the number that pops up, and then eventually I'll run out of ovals over here that have numbers, and I will have a question mark instead. Let's pull those up. Oh, sorry. My scrolling is slow. Okay. There we go. Okay, take a look at what you see here. Can you figure out what the pattern is for each box? And based on that pattern, where should I put this one? Because a question mark popped up. So you would finish off this activity by sorting the rest of the eggs, or not eggs, the ovals, based on their patterns. And then that's pretty much all you can do. You can't really save your work. Once you exit out of here, it kind of resets everything. If you wanted to reset it yourself, you could just click this and it would put everything back the way it was. If you wanted to start over, like say you made a mistake or just got confused, you could do that. But when you exit out of here, it's not going to save your work. The only way you'd be able to show me what you did is if you did like a screenshot, if you know how to do that, or use the snipping tool to take a screenshot, or if you took a picture with another device and sent me a picture. But you really don't have to do that. It's just a fun practice with patterns. All right, boys and girls, stay curious.